wrong sign. Are we starting? We're here. We're live. Hello and welcome to All Things NL East. Here today. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Gone through some technical difficulties. Had a little bit of an absence. Music's still going, baby. Music's still going. Let's go. Cayden, where you been the past 3 days? It's Thursday.
It's been a little bit of a headache, you know. I had a fever Monday morning, a little 100.3.
Oh, barely though. Come on, we
Just
gotta
barely.
tough it out.
No, but
What are we doing?
But I had the headache from like midnight, so I fell asleep at 5 a.m, dude. I would have been here off like an hour of sleep.
Come on.
And I would be falling asleep at the podcast table, Manny. That would not have made for a good show. I would have been talking about how I think the Braves should sign Tyler Glasnow, and I would have just
revealed your shining mad early, it's okay.
I know, but you know you got to do.
I think with a few Tylenols
but I feel like it would
have been fine.
Because it was more about the 1 hour of sleep than it was the headache. I could have actually, you know what? I could have toughed out one or the other. If I had just the headache or just the 1 hour of sleep, I could have made it. But I can't do both of that.
Fair enough,
those, man.
Well, it's Thursday. Couldn't record yesterday, which is when Cayden came to school for the first time. Yesterday was called Wellness Day.
Wellness Day. I made a very cool bracelet.
That's awesome.
At bracelet making.
Kimberly made me one. It was nice. Let me not say anything that I'm on there.
Okay.
It was good.
It was really good. That was the best bracelet you've ever gotten. Right?
100%. Now I'm just trolling, guys. Let's roll. Let's get right into it. Stop talking about Wellness Day and Cayden's headache, because the people aren't here for that, Cayden.
They're here for the Atlanta Braves.
Come on now, Atlanta Braves offseason preview, heading into the 2023, going into 2024 offseason.
A 104 win season, but that's not what the people are going to remember. They're going to remember when they got knocked out in the National League Division Series by none other than the Philadelphia Phillies in a 4-game set. You know, they had everything they needed to be. They looked like one of the greatest MLB rosters to ever be put together. The Braves playbook was thrown into the wind. They were, handing out open checks, and all that was no match for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Well,
but
when it comes to the Braves payroll, I think it's orchestrated beautifully.
Oh, it sure is, but they're also spending a lot too.
Kind of, but they're not. I don't think they're even in the top 7 in payroll going off the top of my head, because they signed lengthy extensions. Acuña's on a long-term, really low AAV deal. So is Ozzie Albies, 7 years, $35 million. That is
it's the classic deal. Like Braves, you sign them at 20 for the 10-year, $100 million contract. That seems to be their signature thing from now on.
Yeah, and they did extend Sean Murphy last year. They got him in a trade. Matt Olson, they got 2 years ago in an offseason. They also extended him. So they do have contracts on the books. A little bit review of the 2023 season. They won 104 baseball games in the regular season.
Pretty impressive.
A lot of wins. 1 seed in the National League. Were one of the best offensive teams ever. And we talked a lot about that while the playoffs were going into the playoffs. They had one person in their starting lineup with an OPS under 800, and it was at 755. Eddie Rosario. His OPS plus was also Orlando Arcia. But Orlando Arcia and Eddie Rosario, as Orlando Arcia had an OPS of 741. Both guys, according to OPS plus, were still around league average. So they just had no holes in this lineup.
Nope.
And if you want to call Orlando Arcia a hole offensively, he was great defensively.
Yep. So
they just took it for who he was. Pitching was also great. Raisel Iglesias with a great season in the back end of that bullpen, 2.75 ERA. Spencer Strider did his thing, although he was a little bit of a roller coaster season. Max Fried, when he was healthy, was dominant. Bryce Elder, a little bit of surprise, came up. Young guy, 24 years old, did his thing. 31 starts, loved that. Very durable guy. And Charlie Morton gave him 30 starts at the age of 39 with solid production. ERA plus of 122 means he was 22% better than the average starting pitcher in MLB.
And then came the postseason.
And we'll talk a little bit about that. They go against Philly for the second straight year after losing the year before. Heavy favorites coming off a bye. which people say is that good, is that bad, does it really favor
We'll never
the
know.
team? We'll never know. We'll see what happens with the playoff format. Might be some conversations going on regarding that. So going into the rest, they lose in 4 games. Phillies just kind of dominated the series a little, definitely in that game
Yep. I
three.
mean, except for every game except game
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 two, they
two, they
lost
just seemed like the better team and the
100%.
team that deserved to win, and they did.
Yeah. Well, enough Phillies talk because the people are gonna get dizzy of hearing us talk about the Phillies.
Yep.
But we like talking about the Phillies
We
because they
love
were
talking
they were
about
the
it.
most interesting team in this division.
Seems like they've been that way for the past 2 years.
Yeah, I guess so. Most playoff success. So I'll take you could say that. All right, Braves. We're a little behind when it comes to their offseason preview. Of course, the idea of this is to record them before they make any moves. They made some
Yep.
moves. Don't know if they've made the move of their offseason yet. We'll review it a little bit without trying to project into 2024 because we'll do that by the end of the offseason. Jared Kelenic shipped off to Atlanta with Evan White and Marco Gonzalez. We'll talk a little bit about Marco Gonzalez later. For Jackson Kowar and Cole Phillips, they're going to Seattle. Jackson Kowar, little bit of a not really journeyman, but reliever for Kansas City, kind of average reliever, not probably not making an impact, and he's not the main guy going to Seattle in this trade. It's Cole Phillips, big prospect, big starter, might make an impact. Maybe not too early. He's only 20 years old, drafted recently. I think his ETA is in 2027, and he ranks 15th in the Mariners farm system. So why did the Mariners do this trade? Why did they do this trade? Very simple, salary dump. We'll get into what that means for them later. Just Jared Kelenic, solid guy, over 700 OPS, broke his foot because he kicked the cooler though, so he didn't stay healthy. What do you think it means for Atlanta?
I think it means to answer your first question. I don't think they've made the moves yet. I think they still have some trick or tricks plural up their sleeve. They're a good team, and they're one could say an even better front office when it comes to signing or extending the players they like. So I think they've got potential to do a little bit more damage.
Yeah, for sure. They're definitely gonna do something in the offseason. Something else, I think so as well. So I agree with that. A little bit on Jared Kelenic, OPS plus at 109 in the 2023 season. This is the second time he gets traded. Was a huge prospect. Honestly, projected to be the face of the franchise in Seattle. Came up before Julio Rodriguez did. In 2021, he got a cup of coffee. Was a very bitter cup of coffee though in the big leagues. He struggled a lot, and he did as well in 2022, where he played 54 games for that Seattle team. OPS plus in 2021 of 72. OPS plus last year was 55. So not great at all.
Nope.
Struggled a lot, but you saw the potential when you see this kid in the box. You see, there's a reason why he was such a highly touted prospect, and in the outfield has plus defense. I think he has kind of an it factor, and he showed in 2022. He kind of put it together. Like he just knows when he in 2021 he had a walk off homer. I remember. I like the Mariners a lot, even though like I'm not a Seattle fan at all. I'm not from there. When I was little, I just liked their jerseys. And Jared Kelenic, I always kind of like kept up with him. He had a home run in 2021, a walk off, and like in the interview, like he just kind of it felt a little special because it was like him bursting onto the scene. Obviously, the season didn't go well rest of the year, but he did the interview. Just the guy looked like he knew how to handle himself. He looked like a pro. He looked like he was going to be a problem, and I still think he will be. He showed off um there's some potential, obviously, in 2023. I think he's going to make an impact for Atlanta. People are saying he might platoon with Von Grissom, who's another big prospect who showed off a little bit of talent in 2022. That he's definitely like can be a problem, but I don't think he's going to be a platoon left fielder with Kelenic. I think Kelenic is going to slide in there and be the everyday guy and be a problem in that lineup because there's no pressure on him. He's probably the seventh best hitter in that lineup,
Yeah.
and he's going to be hitting with a bunch of goons. So I think he's gonna go crazy and break out this year.
I think that's a completely reasonable take, and like you said, it's it's almost like their roster pays dividends because now even when you have a guy like this who's at the bottom of your order, he might just play better because there's no pressure on him. You have, eight other guys who are spectacular baseball players who are gonna, pick you up if you go down, and it's the same way for everybody else on that lineup.
100%. So we'll see. I think what it means for Seattle, though, actually, before that, Marco Gonzalez got traded from Atlanta to Pittsburgh. And Atlanta, I think, is taking, yeah, they took a part of the contract. Not sure right here. It doesn't really say the details here, but they took some of the contract. He's going to Pittsburgh. When they initially got him, I thought that he was just going to be like their fifth starter, and that was going to be their move in the rotation. Like they liked what they had. Obviously, that is not the case because they traded him to Pittsburgh. They have a little bit of a hole in that fifth spot. So we'll get into that after this little detail on Seattle. Seattle traded away Marco Gonzalez and Evan White, two pretty big contract guys, to Atlanta. A little bit of a salary dump. And the reason now their payroll standing at 92 million. It's 18th in the bigs.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry DePoto said he wants to get to 140 or over 140. He expects the payroll to be more than it was last year. They obviously gave up Kelenic. I could imagine that kind of bites a little bit. They had to for Atlanta to take on these contracts. They moved Kelenic. They didn't get Soto because Soto's a Yankee. So they the Puro in the back, big Yankee guy.
Huge
Soto's a Yankee.
He's got the Yankee calendar.
So
right
Seattle
away.
has a move up their sleeve. The reason I'm talking about the Mariners, even though this is all things NL East, is because there's one big fish that has not been fried yet, that has not been picked up yet.
His name not dude.
Oh,
His it's not funny anymore, but his name rhymes with Rohei.
Shohei Ohtani has been linked with the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta is still in the mix. There haven't been many reports really at all. The only ones have been, I mean, Dave Roberts came out, gave some details about the meeting, and their executive was furious.
No, yeah, it's been almost pure speculation.
Because Ohtani doesn't, Ohtani doesn't want anything when it comes to his negotiation. He doesn't want any of that getting out to the public. Excuse me. So I mentioned that to say I don't think Ohtani is going to Atlanta before I say where I think he's going.
I don't think
I want you to tell me what if you think he's going to Atlanta, and if not, where do you think? Oh, you said the Mets last time.
Well,
but not
I said the Mets,
definitively.
but we are quite a bit further along in the Shohei process, and
Yeah,
he's kind of verbally expressed he doesn't want to be
in the East Coast.
in New York City or on the East Coast in general. So I'm gonna switch that up. I think, obviously there's still. I don't really have a solid decision. I have a top three that I think most of the population would agree with: the Angels, Mariners, and possibly the Giants.
Wow. So no Blue Jays and no Dodgers in that mix. I think it's fair though, because those are the two teams that are being talked about the most. It wouldn't surprise me because of the way that he said he wants this to look when it like his offseason stuff, if none of those teams pick him up. So it'd be interesting. The Giants they're an interesting case because they've been trying to get their guy for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes like Correa last year, it didn't work out. They tried to get Judge. Obviously, the arson Judge tweet, the famous one that John Heyman posted. Obviously, Giants didn't get him. So maybe they get Ohtani.
Just maybe.
Maybe. But I think he's going to Seattle. How else are they going to fill up that payroll? Well, there actually is another way. Matt Chapman's an interesting name because they need a third baseman.
Mm-hmm.
And Blake Snell, who's from Seattle, who also might be a Brave. You never know. Blake Snell is from Seattle. Might sign there. You combine Snell and Chapman, those two combined. I don't know if they'll get you over 140, but the AAV would be interesting. I think they're gonna get Ohtani. If they need $48 million on the books to get over 140. The Poto says he fully expects to be over that number.
Yeah.
How else? I don't know. If Juan Soto already got traded, they're not getting Soto. Is it Otani? I think he's a Mariner. I'm convinced. I'm convinced that he's going to Seattle.
I don't think it's a wild take. I'll say that.
So Braves miss out on Otani in our books and our prediction. Who do you think they pick up?
I'm going with, dude. My Chromebook just died with all my stats on the guy, but
Oh, man.
Tyler Glasnow.
Go off the top of
I
your head,
believe
Cayden.
he has a 3.35 ERA.
There you go.
And you know the Braves need a starter, and I think Glasnow's a guy that could fill up that spot quite well for them. He's been on the Tampa Bay Rays, so you know, not too much of a move for him. I don't think he'd be too upset by that. And you know, a lot of these guys on the Rays too, they want to play on a team with fans.
And you do. Atlanta has a lot of fans. Tyler Glasnow. Did you say three? Oh, bell. Did you say 3.35 or 3.53?
I said 3.35.
3.53.
Oh,
Just missed.
I knew what the numbers were.
Yeah, 3.53 ERA, an ERA plus of 118, which is above average, a FIP of 291,
There
which
we
is much
go.
lower than his ERA, fielding independent pitching. WHIP of 1083, which means, I mean, sometimes he's a little wild, but during the regular season, he really didn't showcase that at all. His strikeout per nine is his career strikeout per nine is 11.5, 12.2 in 2023. So he's got serious stuff. He's 6'7". He's definitely a tough at bat to face. I think it'd be interesting. He has a little bit of injury history.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if Atlanta, I mean, they got Charlie Morton, who's a little old. I know he put up a lot of starts last year, but you don't know how. Oh, no. You don't know how sustainable that is.
Yeah.
And Spencer Strider also dealt with some injuries. I think they do get a start. I mean, it's obvious that they're going to get a starter to me, to both of us.
Yeah.
The name for me is Marcus Stroman.
Okay.
Marcus Stroman hasn't had a lot of noise this offseason. There hasn't been much around him. And during the season, there was, because he was begging for an extension from the Cubs. I wouldn't say begging, but he was kind of like showing them up because they didn't want to extend him. And he had a great first half. I mean, I have the numbers right here. First half, 296 ERA. Opponent batting average was 205, which is he was going off in 112 innings. He had a wonderful first half, was having a wonderful season. Looked like he was either going to get extended or head into free agency and get a big contract. But his second half was abysmal. 24 innings pitched, 8.63 ERA, and his opponent batting average was 327.
Oh.
So he was pretty easy to hit in the second half. Don't really know why. I think he was on the IL for a little bit, if I'm not mistaken, during that stint. I think he still might get a multi-year deal. Don't know what his AAV is going to be. He's 32 years old. His AAV last year or his last contract was 12 million around.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he stays, maybe he gets a little bit more than that, around 14 and a half, 15 million a year, which isn't too crazy, isn't too expensive at all. I think Atlanta would be willing to take it. He fits there because he's a ground ball pitcher. Atlanta doesn't tend to pick up or to want fly ball pitchers because it's a hitter friendly ballpark. So he's going to keep the ball in the ballpark, and the infield defense in Atlanta is very good. And Marcus Stroman generates a lot of ground balls. I think it's a perfect fit.
All right.
So yeah,
there we go.
Either Marcus Stroman or Tyler Glasnow is a Brave. Book it. Oh,
Book it. Put it
and
down.
Otani to Seattle. Come on, it's too obvious. It might happen by the end of this week. You think by the next time we record, which we gotta figure out what we're recording, because the previews are done.
It's
The previews
the
are
last
done.
of the previews.
You think Otani is gonna sign? Because
yes.
apparently by the end of the weekend.
Yes.
All right.
All
Otani
right.
to Seattle.
Is that it for today?
Maybe tonight. Maybe he signs tonight.
Maybe.
Come on, inject in my veins. So then it all happens. So, and also, I'm gonna put another prediction on the book, which is not no least related. If Otani doesn't sign in Seattle, they got Snell and Matt Chapman.
Oh. Okay.
Come on now. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for tuning in to our offseason preview. If you enjoyed this, if you liked what we had to offer, go and click the playlist, which by the end of this video should be coming up. I don't know where it is. I'm
It's
putting
got
it
all of our
everywhere.
episodes of.
It's got all of the off-season previews. It's somewhere. Help me out, Cayden.
I think it would be. Would it be there? Wait.
I think it's here.
No, yeah, you're right. Wait, is it there? Oh,
It's here.
Okay.
Or it's here. It's gonna be funny. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, you better invert it so we're right.
Have a good one. Have a blessed day.
Have a phenomenal
Tune in
one.
to All Things Annalise. Subscribe, like, follow us on Instagram.
Do it all.
Follow us on TikTok. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good show.